Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, or tomorrow's video, or the week after, depending on what day you're actually watching it. Today I'm going to talk about a book. So this is historical fiction, so there's a lot of history in here, but there's also a lot of fiction. What it says on the back about the history, about the research, I can't speak tonight. Exhaustively researched yet written with the lightest of touches. This is Jackie French at her very best. Now, I haven't read much of Jackie French. I read this one, A Rose for the ANZAC Boys. It's really, really good. It is World War One. You've got three young ladies. They decide they're going to leave school and go over to France and start looking after the men. I think one of them wants to look for her brother, and one of them wants to do something else, and the other one just is there for the fun. And you end up with some absolutely fantastic scenes, which I can't actually tell you anything about them because I haven't bothered to write any notes here. It was such a good book that I didn't take time to stop and write any notes. So, okay, so here we go. I should actually read the back out to you, but I won't. So Midge McPherson, she's learning to be a young lady at school. She's 16. Her twin is listed as missing in the devastating defeat of the ANZAC forces at Gallipoli. Now, Gallipoli was dreadful. The Australian and New Zealanders were sent in to basically be cannon fodder, to distract the Turkish army from some other part of the war. And they weren't meant to go, I believe they weren't meant to go to Gallipoli, they were meant to go to some other part, and something took them off track. Go and do your own research, make certain I've got my history correct, because I'm not a war person. I really don't know much about war at all, but except that it is dreadful. And what you see in this book is how dreadful it is. But you also see some absolutely amazing things. You see the good in people. You see these three ladies who've got Midge, Ethel and Anne. They start a canteen in France. They make friends. They do a wonderful, wonderful job. And they are very much in demand. And it turns out that the young men sent over to fight, they were not actually fed. So the only people feeding them were women like Midge, Ethel and Anne, who go over to France and start a canteen. And then they write back to their families in wherever, England or Australia or New Zealand, and they ask for food. And so all these huge supplies of food get shipped over to them, so they can then provide sandwiches or soup. Sometimes the people in the local area will give them ingredients for soup, and sometimes not, because they also don't have a lot. So anyway, I really love this story. Well, loved. That's a loaded phrase, loaded word. I loved the writing. I loved the people in it. I did not like the horror, the endless casualties, the death. I really did not. And I don't know of anyone who actually does. If people say they like the casualties, then there's something wrong with them. So Midge ends up, she can drive a car. So she ends up being part of the ambulance crew and driving the car. because the person who was driving the ambulance, she had an accident and got infected somewhere. I'm rubbing my arm because I've got an itch, but my feeling is that it was on the arm that she had the infection, and then she had to stop and rest and be looked after. And so Midge took over driving the vehicle for a while and discovered that she was really good at what she did. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Anne who ended up being really, really good at starting people moving and getting systems flowing so that the men would get food, and she was really good at organising staff rosters. So again, systems. You've got staff, you've got to keep an eye on them, you've got to make certain they eat, that they sleep, and she turned out to be really good at that. So at the end of the book, she doesn't actually marry, she doesn't go back home, she stays where she is and does a fantastic job. So if you can handle the blood, the guts, the casualties, the wounded, then this is a really good book to read. It's aimed, I think, at young adults, young adult fiction. The person who bought this was originally going to send it off to America for her grandchildren, and read it herself and decided it's just too gory for them. So I ended up with it. And I've read it, and it's no more gory than The Hunger Games, or there was another young adult fiction series that I read, and it's the one where they as they go through their puberty. I'm hoping someone will remember the name of this series and write it below in the comments. So as they go through the final stage into adulthood, they go through some testing, and they are divided up into divergent. That's it. Divergent. So they are divided up into their particular areas of expertise based on what is seen in their brains. So it's no more than that. It's no more horrifying. So both of those two series are really good. I should actually see if I have them on the shelf and say a few words about them. But I suspect I only borrowed them. So yes, the trenches at Gallipoli were dreadful, absolutely shocking, and the vast numbers of casualties is just horrendous. But this shows that there can be lights at the end of the tunnel, and sometimes it was a female, someone starting a canteen, a female doing the ambulance, and what it points out is that you don't have to be stuck into the role that society gives you. You can actually go out and make a name for yourself doing something entirely different, and that you might find that you're actually really good at it, as opposed to sitting at school learning how to be a young lady, learning etiquette, learning how to eat properly. I know how to eat. I put food in my mouth and I chew it. It's great stuff. I love food. It's a wonderful thing. Whoever invented food should be given a medal. That's my theory on matters. My hair looks absolutely dreadful. I washed it this morning. You know what? May the fact that my hair looks disgusting and all over the place be the worst thing that happens to me in my life. Because as this shows, there are so many more things, just hold it out there for you, which can be ever so much worse. And if I ever have a huge problem with my hair, I can always shave it off. Some of my family get quite upset at that thought. Anyway, I'm going to stop rabbiting on about myself. I have not. I'm just going to quickly glance at what I've got, what she's done, because she's written quite a few. There's a handful of Australian historical and there's general historical, number of fiction. She's written a lot. I don't remember any of these. So that is the first page of just the titles of her books, and that is the second page. So she's done quite a bit. Oh, there's picture books. Diary of a Wombat is meant to be really good. In fact, I actually have not heard a bad thing about Jackie French. Anyway, enough. There's lots of descriptions in here. There's some great dialogue. And anyway, I'm going to stop. Read it or don't, as you choose. That's YouTube, you know what to do. And if you don't, that's not my problem. And I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.